fire check ya. Nenu mamai. She's a widow. Consider your mother. I remember some people, some of the leaders in my fellowship, SUCF then I met. When they saw that Brochidi was leaving, not one, not two, say, bro, are you sure? Are you sure? Why not? I remember meeting a professor then. He asked me, is the school disturbing you? I said, no, sir. He said, is anybody? I said, no, sir. It's just that my conscience is not. Say, oh man, go back and. At that time, I was no longer guessing. I knew I couldn't continue with that result. But the cost was much. Remember returning back from Chapel of Redemption that morning. I opened my books to read Engineering Mathematics 303. Because I was to write the exam the next day. For more than 2 hours, I couldn't read a line. I kept struggling. And finally, on that table, I closed my textbook. And I decided, if I perish, I perish. I can't continue. That morning, they got to the exam hall. Chidi Okenwa was not there. My phone kept ringing. My phone kept ringing. I didn't pick. Third year engineering. I made up my mind. I'd rather perish than continue. When I took that decision, it was not an easy one, I must tell you. Doing the will of God is not a joke. One thing is that I've taken the decision. Then the next was, how do I move on from here? What I had was, the only money I had on me was money my elder brother sent to me. I needed to buy a telecommunication textbook. I used the money. I went to one bank at Ekoka side. I bought, that time I used to buy jam form, the envelope. I bought the jam form and I was moving. So I bought jam form. I needed to buy WAEC again. I needed to start afresh. How do I? I remember moving, Unizik Thames site well. Moving around gas station, and I saw Professor Nonsa Achebe. He was reversing his car. He was one of the people I met who told me, bro, obey God. So I rushed. I said, sir, that thing I told you, I want to do it now. In fact, I've just bought my jam form, but there's no money. I can't even think of going back to tell my mother. He said, okay, meet me in my office so time. I met him in his office. And he counted the money and 20-something thousand. Gave me. I went to register WAEC. They had finished registering WAEC. I registered for NECO. I refused going home. In fact, my auntie, I was living with, didn't know. In the morning, I will still leave as if I'm going for lecture. I'll go to our fellowship venue. I'll start reading for JAMB. The next 3 months of my life was full of uncertainties and pain. Finally, I wrote NECO, wrote JAMB. Remember the day we came to write post-JAMB? I didn't put Unizik again, but I couldn't go back to Unizik. I said, no. How can I go back? The people I taught in year 1, I will now go back to year 1 and they are now in. So let me go to UNN. You see, that was when I understood this song. Trust and obey. There is no other way to be happy in Jesus and to trust and obey. When we walk with the Lord in the light of His word, what a glory He sheds on our way. When we do His good will, He abides with us still, and with all who will trust. Oh, there is no other way to be happy in Jesus. When some of the fellowship leaders, they were saying, bro, are you sure? I said, I'm sure. So we wrote post UME that day. I went to ride with one of my distant cousins, the same electronic engineering. The exam was tough. I came out, asked, bro, how was it? I said, I smashed. Say, I had the gun. I had the gun. Then when the result came out, he checked his own first. He failed. And I was like, if the person that smashed failed, what about me? I remember that day I got home. Nobody was at home. I laid down in our living room and I cried. I said, God, you can't bring me out of Unizik to frustrate my life. Because I couldn't imagine I didn't even want to think of it. Missing that admission that I didn't want to think of it. Having to wait 1 year at home. What will I tell my mother? I cried, I said to the Lord, you can't bring me out to frustrate me. The next day or so, I went to check my own result. Cyber Cafe. That should be Nampo Junction. The computer was booting, my heart was booting. Jesus, my heart was booting. And suddenly, I scrolled straight down to engineering looking for, and suddenly Chidi Chukwezugo Okenwa electronic engineering. I printed the thing. Ejimianake to our simple Natauno. Name Road. But I'm also. Now, when that happened, something began to happen. I'll be in a place and they say, when you testimony, somebody will write name for testimony and go there, collect mic and give my testimony. I'll be there. He said, I say, brother. I say, brother that did this. Some of the people that tried to pity me away from the will of God, at the end of the day, became encouraged by my testimony. Hear me, sir, as I conclude. One of the ultimate messages of the triumphant entry is the victory of divine will over human will. The victory of divine purpose over human purpose. That was actually when the battle was fought. You know, at the Mount of Transfiguration, the night of prayer, he took Peter, James, and John to pray. He prayed, Lord, if it is your will, let this cup pass. That will tell you he was struggling. The body didn't want, but God has already said, this is what you do. The victory came first at the triumphant entry. Jesus did it. Paul did it. Paul said, I'm not ready to suffer only, I'm ready to die. Esther did it. They said, if I appear and the king doesn't stretch for the golden scepter, it means I'll die. He said, go and pray for me and fast. I will go. If I perish, I perish. Do you know I discover? Those that say, if I perish, I perish, they don't perish. You cannot stand for God and stand alone. You didn't hear me. You can't stand for God and stand alone. A time came, Nebuchadnezzar called Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He said to them, did you not bow down to my God? He said, okay, that is aside. I give you another chance again. You will hear the sound. If you hear and bow, no problem. But if you don't bow, look at this fire and know that immediately you will be thrown. They say, sir, the fire was literal, physical. They knew what the fire could do. But they said, sir, we are not careful over this matter. It is a settled matter. The God we serve, if you throw us into the fire, he is able to deliver us. They say, but even if Jesus, even if he decides not to, sir, this one we will not bow. The Lord I serve is able to give me money. He will give me money. But if he decides not to give me money, I will not bow. The God I serve is able to give me husband or children. He will give me children. He will give me husband. He will give me job. He will give me visa. But if for any reason he decides not to, I will not bow. And at the end of the day, when they were thrown into the fire, and Nebuchadnezzar sat down to watch them burn, suddenly the fourth man appeared. The fourth man appeared. And he became confused. We threw 3 persons. How come there are 4? And the fourth one is looking like the Son of God. I used to say that was a pre-incarnation appearance. That is, Jesus knew he was coming, but he had to show face first, because there were men that decided to stand for God. You cannot stand for God and stand alone. Other possible. You cannot stand for God and stand alone. If there's anything you are going home with this morning, let it be this: you can't stand for God.